another issue that this truck has is the fan is not working at all. Turn it all the way up, you got nothing there. So inside here, this thing is a mess too. It's not mine. We have down here, if you can see this or not, we have this, goes up in here like this. You've got this plug plugs into that, and then this plugs into the fan. This is the fan relay, fan resistor and relay. So this is your power plug going into it. Here's the power coming out of it, and this controls the speeds of your fan. So on high, even if the resistor is bad, it should still work. I can hear the relay click to high, but I get no power out here to my fan plug. I checked the fan plug, I got continuity across the fan plug, so that means the fan motor is still good. It hasn't burned out as far as I can tell. And I checked this plug here. I do have power on the ones I'm supposed to have power on when I turn the fan to the different switches. So I am gonna guess that resistor is bad. So it's the fan blower motor resistor. There's a brand new one. Plug it in real quick here. The old one, new one. So I'm gonna plug it in real quick. Plug it into my fan real quick here. And fire up the truck. Shut it off. Okay, maybe the motor. Okay, so there's power coming out right there on the lower settings. So we should So it's probably the blower motor. Even though it's got continuity, it might be just corroded up. So it was the resistor, because the other resistor didn't have any power coming out of it at all. So we have to pull the blower motor out. They usually get a lot of water and junk up in them. Looks like this one's an easy one. Yeah, wow. Okay, back to this fan problem. So, first of all, this, the resistor, the fan blower motor resistor, this unit was bad because I was not getting voltage out of it here when I was turning the fan on. So I replaced it. Well, fan still didn't work, so I pulled the fan out. The fan goes on, these goes up in like this. This is the tab. You can see these are little cams in here, right? Little tabs of little cams. So it slides up in and it twists about that far. It locks. You gotta pull this tab down right here and twist it that way. It drops out from under the dash. I pulled it out and look at that. It's rusted. The bearings are rusted. So I had checked continuity here on my plug, and I had continuity, which you would expect to have for a good motor, not a burned out motor, which it has continuity, but the bearings are so rusted that it will not spin. So I replaced it, and here is the new unit down here. See, it spins very, very freely. There we go. Still didn't work. So now I had an issue. So I checked the plug down here that comes out of this resistor. Here's the resistor. I checked the plug. Put my multimeter in here, power and ground, put it in, turned the fan switch on. I had voltage. I had voltage at every fan position. And so why wasn't the blower motor working? So to troubleshoot that, I took the blower motor to the front of the car. I hooked up a couple of jumper leads to the pins inside the blower motor, the 2 pins that are down inside there, and I touched them positive and negative to the battery. The blower motor spun, so the motor was good. It wasn't a bad unit that I got from the parts store. So that left this connector. If I was get plug on this connector, if I had power here and my motor was good, somehow the power wasn't getting to the motor. So I had an idea. Pull this apart. These will come out. So this connector has a little plastic piece in the back right here. Okay, I'll show you how this comes apart right now. So this little plastic piece holds these connectors in place. Down inside here, there's a little tab. So you have to reach in with like a pick. You gotta push that little plastic tab down. First, push it forward so it's not jammed up. Push it down with your pick tip. Right, it takes a little bit of finagle in here. You gotta push it down, and then when it's pushed down, like this, you can pull this all the way out. Let's see here. Like I say, it takes a little bit of trickiness to get it. Once you realize what you're doing here. Okay, there, I got it locked. Pulls out. So there's the tab. You're pushing down that tab to slide this out of the back. When it's out of the back, the wires still won't come out of it. This is the old one that came out. There's a good one under the car, but it's easy to show you. So these wires still won't come out because these connectors up on this side right here, up here and here, have a little tab that locks them in here. So what you got to do is, you can see there's a little bit of movement forward and back, right? You got to push them forward towards the end of the plug to take the tension off that. Take a thin, small pick and just shove it in there, and you'll push that tab down. They will slide out. Okay? Push the tab down. Now they'll come out of your connector. So that right there is the tab I'm pushing down. Now, when you get them out, you're going to want to bend that back up. So it's up like that. So when you go to snap them back in, they'll lock in. So I took my plug apart and I checked it on my blower motor. Slid it in here, right? Slid this in to check the fit on these plugs, because I had an idea. Now this one fits nice and tight on these pins in this one, but on this new motor down here, the pins are a lot skinnier, and they just slipped right on and they wiggled around. There was no good connection with the pin inside this connector. Those pins in that end of the plug on the new motor were loose in there because the new plug has a little bit different size pin connectors, and the new pins on the new motor are skinnier in width. So I crimped down, did a couple of things to tighten up these connectors right here. One, I got my pick in here on the back side and I lifted up on this little spring ramp that's in here that holds the pin tight. So I lifted up on it. I pried it up because they were shoved way down. I pried them both up. Then I took my needle nose pliers and I crimped ever so gently down on this lip right here, on this little lip, and I crimped it down to make it tighter so they'll fit tight on that new blower motor. Now that I got all that in place, I checked it, made sure my fan switch was off over here. Turn your key on, right? Take a look at your blower, click your fan up one, boom, blower. So now I've got a blower motor that works. So now I'm going to put this connector back together right here. I'm going to put these guys back in the connector piece right here. That's the connector for them, right? So you can see I've crimped these down a little bit and made them tighter so they fit better on those right there. I've pushed that up. So the only other thing I need to do is go into the back side of them
and bend that little tab up again, right there. Bend this little tab up right here, so that when I slide them back in here, now we got to make sure which goes on which side, right? The clip goes in like this, so red goes on this side. So snap it back in there, locked in. Right, this one goes here. That little tab goes to the top side up here. Slide it back up in there. It's going to be a little tricky to get it in place. I might have mangled it up a little bit. Take my pick here and probably use it to help me push this into where it needs to go. There we go. Get it all the way down there. There. Nice and tight into the end here. Okay. That should fit nice and tight on those connectors. I'm going to check it one more time before I put it back in there. Turn my key on. Good. So this goes back here. This tab goes towards the front there. Helps to peel this mat out of the way a little bit, just to give you a few millimeters of extra clearance. Find the spot where it drops in like that and turn it, and that's it. It's in. Tuck these wires up so they're out of the way. Haha. So there you go. There's a little tip if you've got power on your connector. You know, if you don't have power on this connector here, when you're turning the switch, there could be a fuse bad, or this whole resistor pack could be bad. If you've got power there, I want to check your fan. It pops out pretty easy. But that's the first time I've ever encountered that particular issue of the actual connector not having the right size contacts in it, the right size pins to fit on the plugs.